Hi there, welcome back to DIY Beauty on Purpose. My name is Leah Nev and I'm so excited that you are here today. I have for you 4 DIYs that I know you're going to absolutely love. And I want to thank today's sponsor, Hiipoo, for sponsoring this video. I am loving all of their products and I cannot wait to show you what I make with them. Today I'm going to go over sublimation. I'm sure you've probably heard other creators create with sublimation, and it's when you can transfer an image from a picture, from like a print, to an item. You need an inkjet printer, and I'm going to show you all how that all works, how you can convert that printer into a sublimation printer, and it's actually really easy. If I can do it, you can do it. But let's not wait any longer. Let's get started.
We're going to start right away with the first DIY. I'm going to take this fabric. I recently got it on Amazon because it is polyester, and sublimation works really well with polyester. So the more polyester, the crisper, the brighter the color. So I bought it, and it's about a yard long, or 2 yards, something like that. But it was only $7. It was really a good deal. The first design, as you can see on the paper, and I'm going to show you everything that has to do with the paper and the printer here in a little bit. But I printed it with a mirror button on. So basically it is flipped. So the image is going to be flipped so that it looks backwards, but when you apply it onto the fabric, it looks straight. So it'll all make sense. I cut a piece of fabric that is long enough and wide enough to what I needed. And then I'm just going to iron it just a little bit using my press. And then I'm going to place the design right in the center. I'm going to use some heat resistant tape to keep the design nicely in the middle. I'm going to take some parchment paper, put some underneath as well as on top. And then I am going to place the heat press. The heat press, the settings is according to what the paper from Hiipoo actually says and recommends. So I placed it at 400 degrees for about 40 seconds, and I'm going to remove everything. And of course, be very careful. Let it cool down as much as possible. And then when you remove it, you will see the beautiful design right on the fabric. Isn't it like magic? I absolutely loved the way this works. I love the details, the colors. You can make any design on any computer system as long as you print it in a sublimation printer with sublimation ink, then it can transfer. It's beautiful. And we'll go over more details as we go along. All right, so here I'm just making some seams. I am just pressing them so they are nicely tight. And then I'm going to start hot gluing them. Now, of course, you can sew them. To me, it's just easier to hot glue. So I'm just going to hot glue it, and I'm going to do it on all 4 sides, but the final side, so the top side, it's just going to be a little wider so that I can thread a dowel right through it. All right, so as I am creating these seams, I do want to tell you, so the paper that you have to use sublimation is paper for sublimation. And I'll show you in a little bit what that looks like when I show you how to set up a printer to become a sublimation printer. It's really easy. So the paper you basically purchase, it has to say sublimation paper, and then you can create any design you want. Now, the lighter the item that you are transferring to, the better. So you can transfer on wood, on fabric, as long as it has polyester. You can do it on ceramic products as well. And as long as the whiter or the lighter color of the base, then the better is going to come out. You cannot do it on any dark surfaces because it wouldn't show up as much. So here I'm just finishing up these seams, and like I said, the top one's just going to be a little larger so that way I can thread the dowel through, and then I'm going to tie some jute string to each end. And that's it for this one. I think it turned out so absolutely beautiful. The colors, the fabric is really soft, and it's just very nice, very springy. And I think it's going to look great on a wall. I think my daughter wants to keep it. Actually, she wants me to make her one with her name on it. But I just think it turned out absolutely beautiful. is the printer that Hiipoo sent me. It is an Epson model ET2803. It is actually pretty compact. I was very pleased with that because my space is not too big, what I have available. So this was perfect. They also sent me the ink, which is Sublimation ink, and it actually looks almost identical with the ink that the printer came with. Once you convert a printer to a Sublimation printer, you cannot use it as a regular printer, so keep that in mind. But once you have it, then now you can sublimate and create beautiful creations. I already filled in the cartridges or the little tanks with the ink, but I'm going to show you how I did it. You just open this part right here. And then you see how it has the blue, the magenta, yellow, and the black. And you just lift these little parts up. Very simple. And then you take the ink and you remove the cap. Looks like that. And then you just want to put it right in there. And you don't have to do anything. It literally fills up. And when it's done, it's done. And then you just lift it up. And that is it. Now it does come with some gloves. I actually didn't really need the gloves because it was very easy, very simple to use, and I did not have any messes. So yay for that. So I'm just gonna close up the little blue caps and close this up. Each bottle actually has a little bit left over, which is really cool because now I can fill them up as they empty out and have some extra. They also sent me a box of 110 sheets of the Sublimation paper. Now I haven't opened it yet, so I'm going to open it right now and show you what it looks like. Alright, so here's what the paper looks like. It's actually pink on the back and it is white in the front. So you will print on the actual front of the paper. I just went on the Epson website and then I actually just looked up the model number of my printer and then give you step by step on what you need to do and set it up, and it's actually really simple. So there you have it, a very simple setup. It's really easy to convert a printer to a Sublimation printer, and you can create any design you want, whether you purchase it or you create it yourself. And as long as you print it on Sublimation with Sublimation ink and paper, you should be set. All right, so here I'm going to use some drop cloth and I designed this cute little flower market. Now I forgot to place some parchment paper on top of the design. So it still worked, but you can see that it left a mark. So now for this project, it worked out okay. I didn't have to reprint it and redo it because you're going to see, I'm just going to make a little sack and it actually worked okay. You can't really tell. But if it was something that was going to be like open or a sign or something, then I would have printed it again and then used parchment paper. So once I cut the excess fabric that I didn't need, I'm just going to hot glue the bottom as well as the back, and I'm going to create a little sack. Then I'll take some stones that I get at Dollar Tree. They're just like little decorative stones. And I'm going to fill up, I don't know, maybe about a fifth of the bag or a fourth of the bag. It's not much. And then I did put some faux flowers from the Dollar Tree right inside. If you have not visited my Amazon store, I encourage you to do so. It is linked down below. I have some of my favorite supplies and tools and paints in there. So check it out. It is linked down below. Also, my Etsy shop, if you have not visited, I have added so many new Farmhouse decals that I know you're going to love, and everything has free shipping. So check it out. It is linked down below. All right, so here I am just adding the faux flowers that I mentioned earlier. So I'm just going to put them in and just make sure that they are all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm going to take some jute string and tie it around the neck of it, I guess, and just make a very simple bow in the front, and that's it. I think it turned out so beautiful. This is one of my favorites today. You know, I like simplicity, and that farmhouse style is just my favorite. But look how beautiful that ink is all embedded in the fabric. You can't feel anything, and it's just stunning. For this next spring DIY, I am going to take this canvas from the Dollar Tree. It's one of their larger ones and it's flat. And I'm not really going to do anything with the canvas itself. I'm going to take some drop cloth again, and I'm just going to take the design that I printed, of course, in a mirror type, also like flipped. And then I'm going to cut off the excess drop cloth and just leave, I don't know, maybe about 1/4 of an inch on each side. And then I did end up trimming the little tiny white trim that the design had because I just wanted it to be just a design. And so I'm just going to keep trimming off the drop cloth until I have the size that I need. I don't mind those frayed sides. I actually prefer it. I think it looks really cool. So here I am cutting the excess trim, and then I'm just going to iron out just a little bit, press it, and then giving it a nice flat look. I'm going to place the parchment paper, then I'm going to place the design right on top, secure it with some heat tape, and then of course more parchment tape paper. I'm not going to forget again. And then I'm going to press it to the appropriate setting. And then once again, be very careful when you are lifting everything up because it's going to be very, very hot. This one turned out very beautiful too. Now the drop cloth is not as white, of course, as the fabric I used earlier. So the design is not going to be as crisp and bright, but it still turned out pretty good. I loved it. So I measured the canvas. It's about 11 inches wide. And then I cut 2 of these 1x2s into 13 inches. And I'm going to give it 1.5 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And then I am going to distress them just a little bit using my electric sander. I did hot glue the drop cloth right onto the canvas. And that's how we are going to attach that to it. I'm going to take a drill bit. This is one of the larger, thicker drill bits that I have. And I'm going to drill a hole, one on each side. And then we're going to thread some jute string so that we can hang the sign from it. If you are enjoying this video, I hope you consider giving me a thumbs up. A thumbs up really helps this channel grow and it helps this video reach more people. There's also a way you can support my channel even more by giving me a super thanks, which you can find directly to the right side of the thumbs up. So I am going to finish this up by stapling the canvas right onto the 2 boards, and that's it. It's another beautiful one. I love this one. It's large, actually, pretty good size. And I think the drop cloth really makes it look very farmhouse with the frayed sides. And then, of course, the sublimation, I think, turned out absolutely beautiful. For the next spring DIY, I am going to take this wood round from Amazon. It's on the thinner side, but I have used them on several DIYs and it looked pretty well. I am going to cover the whole thing with 2 coats of polyacrylic and let it dry for actually 2 to 3 hours. So I actually did this and then I worked on all my DIYs and then I worked on this one again. So now I'm just going to sand it lightly just to smooth it out. And then I'm going to take the design, again, I created on Canva, cut off the excess paper around it, and then use some heat tape to secure it in place. I'm going to do the same thing, place it with some parchment paper, and then press it to the appropriate settings. Now this one, you're going to see that you can actually see that's the shape of the press. There it is. I was not happy. I was so sad, but I think it's because, I don't know. I mean, this is my first time working with this, so you kind of live and learn. After I applied a second coat of polyurethane, it was not as noticeable, but you can still see it. So it is what it is. I kept going. So my second design was some flowers, very colorful flowers. I did the same thing. I pressed it. Now you can see some of the paper stay on the design. That is actually okay. I recently saw another creator and she said you just wipe it with a sponge that has like the little scrubby on one side and some clear water and it comes off beautifully. I just dried it with a dry towel. I'm going to tape off the top here because we're going to paint it using a chalk paint by Amy Howard at home. And I gave it 2 coats. And then I just removed the tape. And of course, it's so satisfying. I'm going to add some burlap fabric to the back, and because it's so thin, I'm just going to tape it, and that did really well. I'm going to add some of these little yellow flowers that I got. I think it was Dollar Tree, but maybe Walmart. I think it was Dollar Tree though. And I'm going to place 1 on each side, and then some more of that burlap ribbon. I'm going to make a very simple bow tied in the center with some jute string, and then I'm going to take some more of the ribbon, make a little larger bow, and then place the smaller one on top and tie it with the same jute string. Once it was secured, then I'm just going to hot glue it to the center of the floral arrangement. And then I'm going to take a little pink flower from just a little bundle from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue it to the center of the bow. And I think this one turned out absolutely beautiful. Again, you can still see some of the lines from the press, but overall, being my first time working with it, I think it's beautiful. There's no way I would have gotten all these beautiful details that look hand painted right on this board of these flowers, and I just think it's beautiful. But let me know which one is your favorite, and would you like to try sublimation? I think it's worth trying. I think I love the fact that I have this option to create, and it takes my crafting and my creations to a whole new level. If you are visiting for the first time, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you consider joining our YouTube family. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I'm going to thank Hiipoo for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check out the link in the description box with a ton of information on their products. I'm also going to have a playlist and a video here for you to watch. Next, a lot of inspiration for DIY for you. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you later. Bye.